What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. It is time for Youth Watch Tuesday. And this week's edition of Youth Watch Tuesday is powered by BetUS, the best online sportsbook and casino out there. And this is the time of the week where we gather together and we talk about the future of the team, the young players, the rookies, the sophomores. This year, we expanded it out a little bit to encompass pretty much any player that's on a rookie contract. So we've got a lot to get through because the Seahawks have had some pretty good rookie classes the last few years, and they are now benefiting tremendously from that because they have a lot of good players on cheap deals. So we've got some stuff to get through here. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. This is always a popular series that I run every year for the last couple. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's go ahead and just start at the top with the running backs. And it was, I would say, a productive day on both ends of that. Since we have so much stuff on this chart, we are just going to be looking at some overhead cursory statistics. I'm not going to get super deep in the woods here. But honestly, you don't need to get super deep into the woods to understand that Ken Walker played a remarkable game, right? 22 touches, 109 yards, and a touchdown behind an offensive line that, I mean, I understand they got it together in that second half. The run blocking got a little bit better, but we still had problems. There were still problems throughout that game, and Walker made it work. And Charbonnet, I know there were some issues. I know it was a little bit of tough sledding with the running game with him out there, but he did catch a long touchdown pass, and it ended up being the game winner. So 10 touches, 41 yards. I'm not worried about the PFF grade. That'll come around. And none of the other young running backs got in there. All right, so that's the running back class. Before we move along, I want to talk a little bit about my friends over at BetUS, who this video is being powered by. You can head on over there right now and throw down a wager on this week's Seahawks versus Patriots game in New England. Right now, you can get Seahawks -3. Does that sound good to you? Do you think the Seahawks can cover 3 points in Foxborough? I do. I feel pretty good about that, and I think a lot of you guys feel good about that too. So get on over to BetUS if that sounds like something you want to partake in. BetUS is currently offering a promo code that will give you a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Code is YouTube150. YouTube150. Take advantage. They got the fastest payouts in the industry, fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process. Get on over to BetUS. Okay. Now we move along to the wide receivers where things were relatively low-key. JSN, 2 touches, 2 catches for 19 yards. And I want to expand on JSN just a little bit before we move on here because I think some people got the wrong idea from the video that I posted yesterday. I'm personally not really that down on JSN. I'm not really down on any player that is a playmaker on the offense because I understand that when the offense is pass protecting like that up front, nothing else really matters. JSN had 2 catches. They both converted first downs. They both got a fresh set of downs. And some people pointed out that he actually threw a couple of nice blocks in this game as well. So I want to be clear. It's not me saying that people are going to wonder about JSN. It's me saying that, but it's not me being the one who's going to be wondering about him. What I'm saying is that the people who doubt JSN, and there are certainly people out there who doubt him, are going to look at a performance like this and they're going to wonder, when is this going to be the thing that we thought it was going to be? When are we going to get the JSN that was advertised when we drafted him? Don't get me wrong. I totally get it. Without a competent pass blocking offensive line, nothing else really matters. But anyway, quiet game from him. Statistically, Tariq Young, nothing, didn't play very much. Jake Bobo, nothing. Again, it's hard to evaluate receiver play when the offensive line can't protect. Okay, offensive line. There's quite a bit to get through here. Charles Cross, remarkable game. We already talked about it a lot. I don't think I need to say much more about it. He was our best player on offense and maybe our best player on the whole team. And coming out of that week 1, he looks like one of the best offensive linemen in football. He keeps this up. He's getting paid big time at the end of the year. Forsythe, we already kind of talked about him as well. A penalty. allowed 2 pressures. Honestly, maybe not as atrocious as I initially thought that he was, but I also feel like I think PFF is giving him a little bit of a break on a couple of plays where I feel like he pretty clearly whiffed. Like, there was one play where he didn't even touch the guy he was supposed to be blocking on the edge, and I think PFF didn't give him the pressure allowed because they were like, oh, he didn't touch him, so it wasn't his guy, when it very clearly was. I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like there were some plays like that where he got beat so bad it didn't even look like he got beat. Christian Haynes plays 1 play, nothing to report there. Anthony Bradford plays the worst game you can. 3 penalties, including one that sets up a safety. 2 QB pressures allowed. Run block grade was really good. Okay, we got a little something there, but overall grade was atrocious because he couldn't pass protect and he committed too many penalties. Penalties kill your PFF grade. Patrick Surtain had a terrible grade in that game because of penalties. So it rains on the All-Pros and the second-year day 3 picks alike, I guess. And none of the other young offensive linemen got on the field. Okay, so moving on to the defensive line here. I'm pretty excited about what's cooking right here. I know the stats are not exactly explosive, but we have to remember that Byron Murphy is, number one, he just turned 22. Let's be real here. He's very young still, relatively speaking. And he's going to get double teamed a lot, and he's going to be a guy who is going to draw a lot of attention in the middle, and I think that's what he did. But Denver did not have a lot of success running the ball on Seattle. They boosted their averages to just under 4 yards a carry because of a 30-yard QB scramble at the end, but in terms of actually just running the ball traditionally, they had very little success. PFF grade 70.5. Mike Morris, who barely played in this game, had 2 tackles, and he made some other good plays as well. He had at least 1 pressure that I know of on PFF. And I noticed a couple of good moments from him. I think one of his tackles was at the line of scrimmage, so it's not a loss, but it's very close. Well graded by PFF. I feel like we have something with Morris. I don't feel the need to, put him on the field for 30-plus snaps a game because I think that'll wear him out. He might not be that kind of player, but there is something here that we can definitely use, and I'm pretty excited for it. Linebacker, nothing from Knight. Drake Thomas did make 1 tackle on special teams. So he actually got a decent special teams grade, 69.4. So good for Drake Thomas. He makes the stat sheet. And that seems to be why he's here. I was a little bit confused as to why he was here, but I guess we really like him on special teams. Edge rusher, I mean, again, this is another thing we kind of discussed yesterday, but 4 tackles, 2 for loss, a sack. Don't forget PFF had him for 9 pressures. I don't think he actually had 9 meaningful pressures, but he had a lot of impact in that game. Was really, really disruptive. 74 PFF grade, even though he missed at least 1 tackle. People have wondered for a while now, does Boye Mafe have a have a third gear? Because first gear was like that first year where he was just kind of okay. He was a whatever player. Second year, he hit second gear where he had the 9 sacks and looked like a legitimate good starting edge. Does he have that third gear to become like a star? I'm not even saying superstar, I'm saying star. He looked like a star on Sunday. And Derek Hall, I mean, he didn't play nearly as much, but he actually had a somewhat similar per snap impact now that I take a look at it. 2 tackles, a sack, 69.4 PFF grade. I think he had 4 pressures, and he didn't play nearly as much as Mafe. So having that pressure count is actually pretty respectable and indicates that he actually had a bigger presence in that game than I initially gave him credit for. Cornerback, I mean, this is juicy, right? We got Reek Woolen with the 3 tackles, 1 pick, couple of passes defensed. He gave up a little bit in coverage, but very little. Really good PFF grade. Witherspoon with the 7 tackles. By the way, 0 missed tackles for Witherspoon. Woolen had 1, so that's a big reason why he had the better grade here. 1 pass defense. He had a couple chances at a pick. Didn't bring 1 in yet, but it's coming. PFF grade of 85.3. And to my knowledge, Witherspoon didn't allow any catches in this game. It was actually a blank. So he looks incredible. And Trey Brown. 3 tackles, 1 pass defensed, and a 64.3 PFF grade, which he's going to be the guy that teams probably try to pick on this year because he's viewed as being somebody that you can go after instead of Woolen or Witherspoon, which that's just common sense, right? So be prepared for Brown to give up some stuff this year just because they go at him so much. But if he can just hold his own, I think that's more than fine. B. Williams, he only had the special teams grade. And even though he had one of the worst special teams plays you'll ever see, where he commits 3 clear and obvious errors, overall he was still graded out as 64.7. I don't agree with that. I want to be very clear about that. I think that if you make a play that bad, your grade should automatically be like a 2, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And then finally, safety. There's really nothing to say here. Jarek Reed's still hurt, by the way. He's not even playing. Kobe Bryant played 1 play and nothing happened, so he just kind of gets his water. What do they call that? Like the ocean level grade of 60. That's like the ocean level. A sea level. No, it's what the sea level. 60 is like sea level for PFF. They just kind of leave you there until you do something one way or the other. And that's a rundown of the contributions we got from our young players in this game. And I do think it is worth noting that if you're taking a look at the players that we got from Denver in that trade, the Russell Wilson trade, you got Charles Cross, who was maybe our best player. You've got Boye Mafe, who was maybe our best player on defense and maybe our best player overall. You could really argue those are our 2 best players on Sunday. And then you've got Derek Hall, who also had a good game, and Devin Witherspoon, who had an excellent game. They showed up. They showed up for that one. And that means something, right? I know that at the end of the day, we only care about the team winning and the team losing, and we want those guys to play that good in every game, not just the game that happens to be against the Broncos. But the fact that those 4 guys that we got in the Russell Wilson trade played like that, I mean, it makes you feel a little good, doesn't it? It means a little bit more. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think about Youth Watch Tuesday. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Remember, always gamble responsibly.